Okay, in this task we want to talk about do loop code, and which is very similar to for next code. Each one has its own good things and bad things, so it depends what situation and what you want to handle, right, when you make your code. So let's just talk about that one. Let's change our worksheet to number 2. And by the way, if you follow my lecture note in task 6, the outcome is now looks like this way, right? This is just the outcome of this lecture video, right? So what I'm suggesting is you just listen this lecture video, but do according to the lecture note, right? So when you submit this file, it should look like the outcomes of lecture note, not this lecture video. Okay, let's go to worksheet number 2 and open Visual Basic Editor, and we want to make a new module. So it's module number 4. And okay, another thing, maybe you practice by your own way. So at this moment, maybe your title of this module is not module 4, maybe module 6 or 7 or maybe 14, who knows, right? And if you want to change that onto module 4, like in your lecture note, first you need to delete that module number 4. So let's assume this is module 4, but we want module 2, right, as a title for that. Then first you have to delete module 2. I suspect that's by your own practice, right? So select that and right click and remove. Okay. Then of course it's asking, okay, export this one to somewhere else. So if you want, you please yes, but usually no is enough. But let me just cancel it. At this moment we want to keep it. And so by that you could remove module 2, but still this one is the title of that is module 4, but we want to change that to module 2. Now after select this, right click, there's no rename command in there, but when you select it, in this window it shows always the name of the module, and in here you can change by typing it, right? Okay, so easy way to change your title of the module. Okay, now in module 4 we want to put this code. So this is a simple title. You can choose anything you want later for your code. And there is no for I equals something. It just start with I starting value for any variable. You don't need to mention I is your variable or whatever, right? Just you could use any letter here. Okay? J, K, S, whatever. Okay, this is key part. After that, do certain things as a looping way, right? So you just do this task as many as you need. So how do you figure out how many times you have to do? Is by that, right? So do this task while this condition is satisfied, right? So do this one while the value I is less than equal to 10. And simply at the end of that part we just put loop. So we know do loop. Okay, we are going to do this looping task as many as, okay, while this condition is satisfied. So one key features in do loop code is we have to pinpoint how we're going to increase or decrease the variable value. You start from 1 and we want to increase that value by 1, then definitely you have to put this code within that part. No one says you have to put this one at the end of this code. You could place that one in the beginning of this code. It depends on the situation, okay, but you need it. So this is kind of step number part, right, in the 4, okay, for that stuff, right? So and the real task is going to be just like this. So we're expecting very similar results like the previous task, okay? Only at this moment we use this. And the good thing about this do loop command is this condition could be something else, not only just I. you might have some other information, some other variable, and it might be changeable. It should be changeable within here, right? So at certain moment we don't know, right? Let's assume that. Sometimes it's easy to catch that one, but if it's a really difficult coding, you don't know when you're going to get that value. But by this way, we don't care, or we don't need to count how many times we have to loop, right? We're just looking for that condition. So that's the good thing about this. The previous one was we need to know how many times we have to do it, right? Before starting it. Like I is from 1 to 10 or 1 to 20, right? So we have to know how many times we have to do it. But in this case, we don't need to count it. Minor thing is, for sometimes you're gonna get the infinite loop, right? Because you never get the situation that doesn't satisfy this condition, so it just keep looping it, right? So in that case, please click the escape or control break in your keyboard, okay, to break the running stuff. Okay. Anyway, so if we have that, let me just run. Then we got the exactly same results like before. So it's going to be really interesting if you compare this one with the previous comment, right? Okay, I just changed it, but like that. Okay, and the next one is, instead of using while, we could use until. And there are slight changes in the code is at that part, because we want to just change our position, right? Instead of first line, we want to use this line to compare them, right? So the codes are exactly same, this one and that. So the only difference is, instead of while, we use until, and that part is less than equal to 10 or equal to 11. So now you understand the meaning of this, right? In the first code, we want to do this task while I is less than equal to 10. Okay, no matter what. But in this case, we want to do this task until I hits number 11. So let's look at the situation when I equals 10 at a certain moment. Then you have to do this. So cell 10,2 must be 10, increase 10 to 11, and we want to do this again, right? And checking whether I is 11 or not. And yes, at the moment it's 11. Then that's the moment it stop, right? We are not going to do this again. It just escape to the end of this code. Okay. So we're expecting same results on the second column, like this. Now the next two codes are kind of a modification of these two. It's exactly the same. The only difference is where you're going to put this while or until. So let's look at this third code and compare with this. Both of them using this while, but the places are changed. This while is right after do, okay, but this while is after the loop. So that forces us to change it, but we are going to get exactly the same results. Okay, so let me run this one first. We got the same result, but this one is less than equal to 10, that is less than 11. So why? Because the place of while is different. In here we want to do this task while I is less than equal to 10, so including 10, right? But in here we have to read this code like this. I start from 1 and do this task while I is less than 11. So just keep doing it, increase 1 for I, increase I by 1, right? And keep doing it, and when I becomes 10, we want to just do it, I mean 10, then we have to check it. Is it less than 11? Yes, then go over there. So do this task, cell 10,3 equals 10, and increase 10 to 11. And before just do this again, we need to check. Is it less than 11? No, it's equal to 11. Then that's the moment we have to stop. So it's just same arguments, but slight different the coding because of the different place of while. Okay, that's the only two places you can put while, right? Right after do or right after loop. So it's just same thing. And same thing happens for the second case with until. So let me place here. Compare the second one, right? Second one with fourth one. In the second one we put this until right after do, but in here we put it right after loop. And at this moment it's just same thing, I equals 11, I equals 11, because in here when I hits 10, go over there, it's not 11 yet, so do it again, I becomes 11. And when you start your, right before when you start your task, you find out I becomes 11, then you stop and go to the end of this right after the loop line. But in here you checked it here, right? So you are going to get exactly same results. Okay, so when you run this, you got it there. So you have 4 different styles of for a do loop style, and you have 2 choices of while or until, of course with 2 different places of it. So and there are some reasons, sometimes this is the best way to make your code, and sometimes this one, sometimes that, right? And hopefully we can see all these cases later.